Hey everyone, Eric here from Reflection. So what we're going to be doing today is we're going to be doing a bulk hood installation on the full hood of this GMC Sierra. So I've got my edges prepped, I've got the hood clean, I've got a clay bar wiped down with isopropyl alcohol. So right now what I'm going to do is I'm going to start spraying some slip solution on, and then we're going to get the film on. Okay, so now I'm ready to start back rolling the film onto the vehicle. So what I did was I peeled some of the film back. I got some solution in behind here. What I'm going to do is take the squeegee and I'm just going to make a dry spot on the fender here, and then just going to take this film, lay it down on here, let that kind of stick in place. So if you have access to help, an extra set of hands, this is definitely a good time to get an extra set of hands. If not, this is the method that I find works best. Okay, so now that I got the hood on, I'm going to lift up the film, spray my slip solution in there. I don't want any dry spots of adhesive or paint, so I'm going to get this all good and saturated. Spray the top of the film as well too. So I'm just going to go around all four corners and do this to start. So now that I've got a good amount of slip solution underneath there, I'm just going to try and center the film on the truck. So anytime I'm doing a full hood bulk install, I always cut the film to 80 inches because that's going to give me more than enough film to maneuver around like I'm doing right now. And it's also going to give me enough film to properly wrap my edges and tuck the corners. So I'm going to spray the top of the film down, start pushing out some of the air. So the trick is, before you start squeegeeing, you want to take your hand and just go around everywhere and make sure that the film is moving freely on the hood. And then you want to push as much air out from underneath the film as you possibly can. You want to try and get the film to get as close to perfectly laying down where it needs to be before you start squeegeeing. You're going to have a better looking install that way too. Okay, so now what I'm going to do is I'm going to start tacking my four corners down. So I'm going to lift the film up here. I'm going to spray some tack solution on the fender. And I'm going to take and tack this area down right here. Perfect. Now I'm going to go over to the passenger side. Now I'm going to pull this down and I'm going to tack it as well. So the whole key on the four corner tack is you want to try and pull it down far enough with enough tension that you can eliminate these wrinkles. So Okay, so now we got our 4 corners tacked down. So what we're gonna do now is I'm gonna start in the middle. I'm gonna work my way over to the passenger side, and then I'm gonna come work my way over to the driver's side. So the whole point behind this four corner tack, and I think I touched on it a little bit earlier, is you want enough tension that way you can take away all the fingers that build up around the front of the hood. So we did that. It'll make wrapping this a whole lot easier when we get to that. So I'm gonna start in the middle, work my way over to the passenger side. So these fingers that are popping up right here, once we get to wrapping the edges, I'll take care of them. So I'm just gonna leave them for now. So one thing I'm gonna do before I start squeegeeing down this valley over here, I'm gonna take the knife and I'm just gonna cut off the excess film on the back over here. So when I'm doing these installs, I like to install as much of the hood as I possibly can without having to use any tack solution. I just find that gives a much cleaner install. So as you'll see, I'm holding this edge down over here because the second I lift it up, look at that. So what I'm gonna do is get my tack solution. I'm gonna take and spray just a little bit over here and leave that. Hold that down, start squeegeeing everything out. Make sure that there's none on this ridge over here. These ridges tend to hold a lot of moisture, which you don't notice until you're done, at least in my case. So that's why I also like to have my towel, wipe things down, and look for stuff like that. So now, the tack solution that I sprayed in over here, if I did my job correct, it should just hold. Look at that. Just squeegee out. Okay, so I am human. I'm not perfect. Now, I did notice a couple pieces of contamination right here by the edge, this is by far the best place you want to find contamination instead of in the middle of the hood, because I only have to lift up just a little bit. Now, a big reason why I like to install these hoods using just slip solution and as little tack solution as possible is for this exact situation where if I have to lift the film up, if I were to use tack solution, a lot of tack solution right over here, wherever I stop lifting the film up, there will be an adhesive line, and that adhesive line is going to stay there. It's not going to go away. So now that it's fresh, I notice this, I'm going to lift this up. I'm going to get the contamination out of there, put my slip solution down, and squeegee it down. Okay. So got that one. Got them both. Perfect. Okay, so we got the contamination out. There's no adhesive lines, so we're good to continue moving over to the driver's side. Okay, now we'll go over the other side. We should just cut off all the excess. Okay, so now what I'm going to do is I actually trimmed off all the excess paint protection film. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my tack solution and I'm just going to go around the whole hood and I'm going to flush out all the slip solution that's left. So what this is going to do is it's going to help dry out the edges and it's going to allow me to wrap them a lot better. Okay, so now that I have the edges flushed out with tack solution, now what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my 3M hard card and I'm going to go around and I'm just going to wrap them. So I'm going to try and tuck this corner. That way we get maximum stone chip protection. So I'm just going to leave that there for now and come around over here and just run my thumb right along the edge. So now that I've taken my thumb, gone around, made sure that the film is wrapped, what I am going to do is, a little bit of moisture, I gotta get out of there. I'm just gonna take and get it flat as I can with my thumb. So one thing you'll notice is you have these pinch welds over here. What I like to do is just take my thumbnail, try and get that film into there as best I can. Take my hard card Go around and really push that film into there. And then what I like to do, take the knife, and I'm just gonna start over here. Get that trimmed. And then I like to take and trim the film so the film stops right in that pinch weld. You want to have a clean looking install on the exterior, and even when you open the hood, customer should have a clean looking install under the hood as well. So now I'm just going to pull off the excess and then go around all four corners and do the same thing. So when you're wrapping edges on hoods, I find, like for example this hood, you have a pretty sharp corner over here. Typically if you're going to be doing a pre-cut hood, you'd have a notch over here, you'd have a notch over here, just because it's really hard to wrap the film around those edges. So what I like to do is, in this case, because I'm bulking, I like to wrap in the hardest possible spot. So this corner right here will give me a lot of issues if I were to start wrapping here and go up. So I'm actually going to wrap this piece or this corner first. So just kind of get my thumb down there, and then you can see how everything's kind of pulling itself into place over here. Perfect. Just like that, it's wrapped. I'll trim off the excess and it'll look really, really good. Okay, so now that I've got all my edges wrapped, I'm going around just trying to make sure that there's no moisture left behind. Now I found a bit of a moisture bubble right here. So instead of pulling the edge around, pushing it out, what I'm gonna do is, I got a diabetics needle over here. Just gonna push this into a little bit of a bubble. I'm just very lightly going to penetrate the film, just enough to push all that moisture out. So, perfect. Now you don't have to worry about that hole being visible. You know, as soon as the film starts to warm up from the sun, or when I take a heat gun to it, that tiny little hole will heal up. Okay, so there we go. This hood is now complete. It's going to stay inside for a couple hours. It's just going to dry out. I'm going to take a heat gun, go around, heat up all the edges, make sure that none of the film is pulling back. And this customer will be happy because he no longer has a line in the middle of the hood. So hope you enjoyed this video.